The Gun in Betty Lou's Handbag from 1992 is a comedy about a young woman who is a librarian. She's a bit of a shrinking violet and has issues with asserting herself in life. So she falsely confesses to a crime that her policeman husband is currently investigating. Penelope Ann Miller plays Betty Lou, and I think she's perfectly cast in this role as somebody who throws herself into a kind of dumb situation on purpose to get some attention and to not feel so invisible in her life. And this movie has a lot of other interesting things going on. The villain is great. There's a little bit of action and gore. And there's even a cameo by Meatloaf. I must confess that I think I'm putting a premium on movies that I watch on VHS on my old CRT TV. It's just something I like to do on a weekend morning, and it really puts me in a comfort zone that I feel like I could be watching anything and kind of like it. But I thought this was a decent movie, and I will definitely keep it in my VHS collection. Monster Summer from 2024 is a supernatural kids horror movie kind of thing. It's a movie that really wants to be The Goonies or Monster Squad, and it has kind of a reputation for being that, although my wife and I and our friend that we buddy watched this with all feel that it kind of falls short of having that magic that those movies had. It revolves around some kids in a coastal town who seemingly have lost their personalities and go into a semi-catatonic state. And our main character is this kid who really wants to be a reporter. And there's this mysterious, creepy guy played by Mel Gibson who kind of becomes his mentor. And there's a red herring, and there's all kinds of things going on that could have made this movie good. But again, it doesn't rise above its concept. It really doesn't have the charm. It doesn't have the love that needs to go into a movie like this to make it a Goonies or a Monster Squad or something like that. It was fine. It was entertaining, but it will never become a classic. But if you're looking for something that's mostly unoffensive and just will wash over you and you forget it, then it's not the worst thing in the world. Chopping Mall is an absolute classic sci-fi horror movie from 1986. This one is set in a mall where there are security robots that look like RoboCop rejects that go a little haywire, and there's a group of young people who were having a little bit of a party in one of the stores in the mall and just hooking up with each other, and the robots start killing them one by one. It's very funny. It's got great action, great special effects. The robots are cool, and you even get a little bit of TNA. When it comes to 80s horror, what more could you ask for? If you're into old horror movies and somehow you haven't seen this, I highly recommend you go and check it out. The Stylist from 2020 is a horror film that came on my radar because of Brea Grant, who I am a huge fan of. She plays a prominent role in this movie, but the real star of the show is Najara Townsend as the title character, who is a disturbed woman who makes victims out of her customers as a hairstylist. This is one of those movies that was made on a very small budget. It was actually funded by a Kickstarter campaign. And although the director wears her influences on her sleeves, you can tell that a lot of love and care was put into every scene and shot in this movie, and I really appreciated it. I actually have a strong preference for movies about dangerous or troubled women. I don't know why, I just like them. And to hear that the director was influenced by a lot of those movies that I love, when I listened to the commentary, that made a lot of sense to me. Brea Grant, of course, was great in this, as was the entire supporting cast. If you haven't seen this yet and you're looking for a female-centric serial killer movie, then definitely check it out. Psycho from 1960 is an Alfred Hitchcock thriller that is way ahead of its time, especially seeing it in a movie theater for the first time ever. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, and Regal Cinemas just played it as part of a campaign they're doing to play older movies. And my wife and I really appreciate that. The one criticism I have of Regal Cinemas is I wish they would turn up the volume, because a lot of these older movies, when they play them, they're not loud enough. Psycho is such an interesting movie, even today, because of the flow that it has. It starts as this secret love caper kind of thing where the character Marion Crane, played by Janet Leigh, is scheming on her own to steal a large sum of money from a client of her employer to run away with her lover. And what happens next is such a turnaround from what could be expected from movies at this time that it still holds up, especially seeing it on the big screen. One of the most famous sequences in cinema history, which is the shower scene, was amazing to see in a movie theater. And of course, Anthony Perkins' performance, he's phenomenal in this movie. And of course, I also love the supporting cast, the guy who plays Arbogast and the sheriff and Marion Crane's sister. They're all great. And like I said, the movie has this strange flow where you think you're watching one thing, it becomes this other thing. It's very procedural, very methodical, and then it almost abruptly ends. A lot of people don't like the monologue that the psychologist makes at the end, but even seeing this for the first time in a few years, I don't really have that much of a problem with it. I actually have recently picked up part 2 and part 3 of this series on DVD, so my wife and I have never seen those, and we're looking forward to checking them out. But again, shout out to Regal Cinemas. If you have them in your area, check out what they're playing, because they might be playing old movies like this, and it's really cool to be able to see them in the theater. And that'll do it for this video. I really appreciate you watching till the end. If you like these short movie reviews, I have a whole playlist on my channel. Thank you to the new subscribers, and I'll see you on the next video.